Good evening.
Good evening.
My name is Jonathan Mansfield, and I didn't know what I wanted to talk about. So I just picked something that I think is interesting, and that's where we're going to start. Dissonance is a musical term that essentially means two notes that are in opposition to one another based on their frequency. Back in the day, this was called devil's music because it was not harmonious. This was around the same time the germs were science fiction, so you understand the level of sophistication in that thought. But dissonance is a larger, more beautiful metaphor. Psychologically, cognitive dissonance means holding conflicting cognitions simultaneously. And cognitions are intuition, notions, perceptions, all very subjective. It happens when we don't know what to do with the information that's being presented to us. For example, this sentence is in English. That's true. This sentence is in Italian. I don't think so. This sentence is false. There's a little bit of anxiety passing through the room right now because we don't know exactly what we're supposed to understand with that sentence. This is an example of cognitive dissonance. We start to fracture a little bit and we try to wrap our minds around this. We cope with dissonance. We abide by it. We don't understand it. We oftentimes will repel from it. But if we embrace dissonance, there's something within it, something beyond that, which is quite beautiful. For example, Orwell called it doublethink in his novel 1984. Doublethink is part of the language he created, metaphorically. It's basically a self-deceptive act of choosing to believe things that are in opposition to one another, even manually choosing to forget one thing for another. Even though this is a novel, we do this a lot today. Dissonance, if you are interested, leads to discovery. As you can see, that picture is a club scene. There's all sorts of terrible, dissonant, glitchy, screechy music. I, for one, love it. But embracing newness and allowing music to expand our understanding leads to other things. I happen to feel that the degree of a person's intelligence is directly reflected by the number of conflicting attitudes she can bring to bear on the same topic. The idea that being emotionally driven is something outside of intelligence and that holding contradictions has value. Dissonance is opposition. Dissonance is context. Dissonance is a moment in which we can pit one note against another, one force against another, one idea or circumstance or person against another, and evaluate them for what they are in that contrast. It's the way we differentiate and ascribe value. Dissonance helps us understand where we are without some sort of friction, without some sort of stop and go, without some sort of shriek, startling moment. We can get lost in harmony. We can get entranced, and we can lose where we are. Moments of dissonance call us back to understand what's happening, forcing us to struggle with it. In music and in life, dissonance helps us expand our emotions. In music, dissonance can add terror, thrill, suspense to a soundtrack, to a song. In life, dissonance introduces us to an entirely range of emotions that are beyond happiness and joy and fluffiness. Dissonance can build trust, like two elephants checking each other out, evaluating one another. They could fight or they could flee. But allowing the dissonance to remain as long as it needs to establish that trust, adds strength to their group. Dissonance precedes resolve. In every moment of dissonance, there is a hint of a promise of peace. Allowing the dissonance to remain, to cultivate that peace, is invaluable. Oftentimes, we cheat ourselves by giving up too quickly. Dissonance allows us to take stock of the moment, to understand in this contradiction, in this clash, in this violence, who am I in relation to this moment, in relation to this note? What is my role? What do I exist to do? How do I define myself? How should I define myself? Growth, of course, requires challenge. And what is challenge but dissonant? Challenge is not harmonious. Challenge is not easy. Growth is not fun and pretty. Growth equals overcoming obstacles. Music builds and grows harmony by the introduction of dissonance. Dissonance is awkward. In family, in music, it's confusing. Don't always understand what's happening. But allowing that dissonance to fester where it must and escape where it wants to gives us a deeper glimpse into who the people are around us. It even allows us to galvanize our communities. Dissonance resonates. Dissonance punctuates harmony. Just as calamity, fear, chaos, confusion provides stops and starts for the peaceful times and the beautiful times. Dissonance informs beauty. Asymmetry, flaws, imperfections, these are the things we remember. These are our focal points. Dissonance allows us not to reject beauty, but further understand what it is, what it isn't. Dissonance is its own form of relief. These men, after pushing through the fear of falling, which is a very natural instinct, have realized the peace and the serenity of that bird's eye view. I imagine the hustle and bustle of the streets with the pedestrians and the cars is now strange and uncomfortable. Dissonance fosters change, like in a piece of music. It's a pivot point for a new movement, a new key, a new rhythm. In life, dissonance allows us to reevaluate and start new seasons and end old ones. And lastly, and most plainly, dissonance is an indicator. It is a range of vibration that we can perceive, and beyond that, there's a lot we don't understand. But within that, it's an interpretation of the sound waves, the vibrations that we can perceive. Thanks.